Hello, hello. Welcome. My name's Amanda Adey and I'm co-hosting this with Rebecca McQuilty. So thanks for joining us tonight. Our theme for tonight is how to make money with Solex, which is not for everyone, but I know most people join up originally for themselves. And then there's another lot of us that also join up to share this beautiful product with others and, to make some money on the side if we can. So I guess tonight's just giving you some ideas from my perspective of how it's worked for me and what I've seen other people doing, and also a little bit from Beck's obviously perspective. And then I'd love contribution from the rest of you if you guys are doing your own thing and how you might be covering the subscription or making money. And if not, we'll sort of bounce off some ideas as we go. So hopefully we can inspire you all, if you're not, to maybe make a change if you want to, because sometimes it's hard to get the memento and the inspiration going, or maybe there's a lot of blockages or fears stopping you from maybe sharing and making some money with this as well, whether it's building a team or running some scans and Cephi groups or selling products, etc. So welcome everyone. I'm down in Melbourne and I've been with Solex, 3.5 years, I think, from August 2021, I think that's when I joined. Yeah. So, and yeah, I've pretty much been lucky enough to use this firstly on myself, then with my clients. I'm a practitioner. And then I probably was in month 2 when I even found out that you could make money, in the commission side of things. I started to get it to help my clients online in lockdown. So originally it wasn't to do the business side, but now I do both. So yeah, that's my little background story. So I'm here just to talk about a little bit about how I've done this, or some ideas for you to share as well. So you want to add anything to that, Beck?
No, I just introduced myself. Hey everyone, Beck McQuilty. I'm in Brisbane, southwest of Brisbane. When you said 3.5 years, I'm like, surely it can't be that long, because I'm sure I've only been here for 2 and a bit, but it must have been that long. That's so crazy. Um, I
Was
I love the
21.
fact that you
Yeah.
started as a practitioner and were just really drawn to be able to utilize this for yourself and for your clinic. I'm really excited tonight to learn more about, and I'll probably just throw some questions at you maybe, about what kind of attracted you to then the business side. And I know that you have a really successful kinesiology business that's absolutely thriving. So actually, I'll just ask you now before we move on. How about that? What was it about? Was it the residual income perspective of what you could bring in with Solex that attracted you to that side of things? Because, I know that you have a super, super successful business. Or was it having Solex to be like a point of difference for you? I was just curious.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think to start with, people were coming to me as I was sharing it. So it wasn't that I was sort of going out cold calling or, saying, hey, you can do this. So I guess I'd been in the industry a long time. So some of my colleagues had saw me started to share what I was doing in lockdown with the scanner. So I had a lot of people approach me to start with, and that's pretty much how I built my team. I
Love
didn't sort of go out there advertising a lot. I just sort of shared. And then, different practitioners, to start with, it was practitioners coming to me because they trusted my kinesiology business. That, like, what are you using now? What are you doing? And so, with some of them were like, holding me down, to share it. Whereas I was like, are you sure you want to sign up? So I was all a bit like not into signing people up at all. But I guess as it went on, it kind of changed from practitioners to, the average layperson at home who was interested in it, which I actually love, because, I love to empower people and give them a tool to have in their home versus always relying on me as a practitioner. So as time went on, that's what I kind of get really excited about, is helping, people. Like, I had a client ring up whose mum had cancer in India. Can you do some scans and some Cephis and, support her? And I'm like, well, why don't you get it yourself and I'll show you how? And she was like, oh, can I do this myself? oh, and it only costs this amount, I would be spending so much more to support my mum with you. So I just got jumped on a call for an hour and showed her a few things, and off she went. And now her and her sister in India both use it. So,
Yeah, mate.
I'm passionate more about also helping that, the little person at home help their family as well. So, yeah, that's kind of where my thing is now. But yeah, it didn't start like that. It was lockdown, and how do I energetically take the burden off me doing online sessions? I've got another tool to help my clients.
Absolutely. I love
So
that.
that's where it started for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for
What about
sharing.
yourself?
Well, for me, my beautiful friend Amanda, I was about to say 80 then. I've been talking to you too much. Amanda Matthews, different Amanda. She had actually purchased a device just by being on a group from a lady in the States. And she just inquired, bought the device, got it here. And back then, there was no training or anything like that. There was no training from, like, no new distributor training or anything like that. It was kind of like, as you know, figure it out as you go type of thing. And so she just came to me one day. We went for a coffee and she did a scan on me and she showed me all of these things that she could see of what was going on within my body energetically, and it just blew my mind. So I had a million questions like, what is this? Where do you get it? How much does it cost? Is it available here in Australia? And she's like, I don't really know. I just bought it online. Like, no one, really told me anything. They just sold it to me and here it is. And I'm like, well, I need to know more. So I ended up getting on a call with the corporate team, which, having five of the head of the company over there on a call with me, I kind of felt when the Zoom opened, I nearly like wet my pants because there was Lauren Swenson, the developer, there was Kai, the CEO, and Shelby Larson. And I was like, they're like, oh, there are all these really high up people. And here's just little old me in Australia going, so can we have this here in Australia, please? So that's kind of how we all got started. And we beta tested the market for about 3 months. And once we beta tested the market and proved that it was going to be worthwhile for them, they opened the market to Australia. So that was really exciting. And it's just been, an amazing, crazy journey ever since, really.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, and I think it has been three. I think I saw someone
Yeah.
had 3-year anniversary, so you've been in it longer.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God. That's crazy.
amazing.
There you go.
All
I,
right.
I
You
lose
jump in.
track.
I don't think I can get the slides going now. I think you're having to do the slides.
Oh, really?
Hmm,
Um,
let me try. Oh, nope, sorry, I can do it,
okay, cool.
I think. Yeah. Yeah, so we're just, a few little ideas. Obviously, you've all joined up with Solex, and obviously some of you probably aren't new, so it's probably not now what, but if you were new, where do you sort of start? So I'm just going to jump in and just sort of speak with a couple of ideas. So, obviously if you're new, or maybe these are good reminders if you're not new, where to, go back and start. It's a fresh year. And sometimes, it's a good motivation to start something different again. So you could start by watching the basic university and start using the device for yourself. So, if you don't use it, you do lose it. So, in any business, if you do want to run a business, you actually have to be in it. You have to be using it for yourself. And so I often hear people going, oh, I haven't even picked it up for 2 weeks. I haven't even scanned myself. And I'm like, well, if you're not using it, how do you expect, to share that experience to others? So as you go, obviously collect testimonials, start collecting them because they're gold. Start talking about the results and the things that you're using it for to others. Otherwise people don't know what it even is. So I find like this is quite new still for people, frequency medicine. And so you do have to do a lot of education because people still don't quite get it. And you need to sort of get it in their hands and show it. So, here's a couple of ideas. Start a social account or a private group. If you don't like being out there socially, then maybe a private group and adding your friends and having your own experience in that private group. Um, share with others your experience. You see people going, I've got this brand new thing and this is what happens on day one, or this is what's happening on day two. And, you could, even if you've been in it for 2 or 3 years, you could just start there, start a new experience, share with people. And I guess if you want to offset the costs, like me and Beck do, enroll 3 people as soon as you can. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to speak about that a bit more, Beck.
Oh, you're giving me a platform to talk about the comp plan? No, of course I will.
Just quickly.
It's my favorite topic to talk about. So, and I think the thing is too, is that, don't reinvent the wheel, right? Like if you're brand new, you've never done this before, and you don't really know what you're doing, I always say, just follow the process of what who have sort of come before you have done. And that's by join our Facebook groups and join our Instagram groups and all of those, and, our Instagram pages and all of those things, and add your people to those, because we have a testimonial group, and by all means, please, add your testimonials in there as well. Remember, we're working with energy. So the more that you're contributing to that, the more it's going to grow, the more people will be seeing it, and so on and so forth. And then when you do get to that point, or if you are an experienced network marketer, or you have an experience with a big network, then definitely start your own group and share your experiences in there for sure. When it comes to getting paid, and look, all of your compensation plan training is in the back office. And so when anybody new that joins me personally gets started, the first thing I do is get them to do the back office training, so that they, particularly if they're wanting to build a business, you must understand the compensation plan. You can't, it's like you wouldn't accept a job offer in anywhere, any type of job in the world, unless you knew how much and how you were getting paid. And what we do with Solex, or any other company for that matter, is no different. And so it's really important that you know how the compensation plan works. The beautiful thing with Solex is that our compensation plan is easy, because if there's one thing I've learned in this industry, confused people do nothing. So if you don't understand our compensation plan, and we made it so tricky that you couldn't even figure it out, the thing is, you will never truly build a business to the degree that you will want to grow it. But when it comes to the basics, and let's just talk about that for a moment, we have 2 different main points of bonuses. One is your fast start bonus. It's your launch bonus. So when you bring somebody on with a bundle, as an example, you will get paid 65%, which is, as far as I know, the highest in the industry, commission based on the points value of not only the subscription, but also the bundle that you actually sell them. So the subscription, as an example, is 112 points. Ongoing from there, normally most companies, what they would do is drop the commissions right back down to anything between sort of 10 to a maximum, well, actually I've seen lower, 2 to an absolute maximum of maybe 30%. And that's residual. So that's month in, month out. And we'll talk about the subscription only just for this example, just out of pure ease, to be honest. So your residual income from that is 45%. That is seriously, again, the highest in the industry personally that I have ever seen. And therefore, it means that you only need to get 3 people on the subscription, whether they're customers or business builders, it doesn't actually matter. Your commission is going to be the same, and you will receive 45% of the 112 point value. So that works out to be approximately $50 US, which is about $75 Australian. So 3 of those times, the $50 US, is your subscription is $149 a month. So your subscription is going to well and truly be covered. Now, if they are all QLAs, which we recommend you, when people sign up, you would sign them up as QLAs anyway, whether they wanted to build a business or not. The reason I say that is because even if they only ever had 1 person come on board and utilize the subscription, they're still getting 1/3 of their subscription paid every single month. And I think that's well and truly well worthwhile. That's $600 US a year that they're saving on their use of the technology and that they're making. But when you do sign a QLA and you do have 3 of them and they maintain that for 3 months, then you will qualify the first rank in the company, which is bronze. Now, when you are bronze, you also get a $50 bonus, US bonus after qualifying that rank, and then $25 every single month just as a bonus. So, and then you start right from that first rank being eligible for our bonus pool as well. So there, our compensation plan is simple, but it's very, very generous. So I wanted to share that because, you know, if you could imagine us encouraging each of our people who come on board to have their subscription paid for, you would be able to build a very substantial business.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then there's no stress for people with,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it's
with
maintainable for them because their subscription is being paid for.
so it's just finding, I guess, those 3 people and, you know, sharing it. You know, if you don't share, and you know, I remember Dr. Sheila says this all the time, if you don't share, someone else will, you
Yeah,
know, and they will. So why don't, you know, why shouldn't you share? I don't see it as selling, it's just sharing, and people will go, oh, tell me more, or, you know, can I have a chat about that?
yeah.
So some other ideas, create lists of people who are interested, emails, text, newsletters, and everyone you've ever scanned these lists. So, you know, go back into your scanner. You've got everyone's email address. They gave you permission to scan them. Grab those emails out and, you know, start your own private list, even if it's a little, you know, text message, you know, once a week, I'm doing this special, or I've got this offer, or this is new in the company. You know, keep people in regular contact, because people forget about you. And, you know, often in my other business, I'll send out a newsletter, and all of a sudden, you know, people start booking in because they remember, oh, yeah, I haven't seen Amanda for a while, or blah, 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 blah. People can forget. And unless, you know, you're not in their face all the time, but they see you a couple of times, you know, even on social media, the message doesn't sink in until they see you a few times and start to trust you. So, you know, if you don't want to be on social media, just send a WhatsApp message in a little group, or, you know, find your way to do it. And the other thing is, are you all setting your own intentions? Have you all done a 2025 intention for your personal life or your business? You know, when you've got your own business, it is a self-development course in itself. And, you know, you have to be constantly working on yourself if you've got your own business. You know, in my kinesiology business, I have my kinesiology tool as a balance to constantly balance my business. You know, if I changed my price, or I had lots of cancellations, or something in my business was changing, I would balance that so I was aligned. But you guess what? You guys have all got a quantum tool to balance yourself. So you've got that as well. You can set some Sephi playlists up. You can put your manifestations and your creations in your spaces and objects, and you can start to send frequencies to yourself. You can do a mindset, a mind sync, you know, flip all the negative to the positive and write some affirmations and load them in. So if you haven't done that for the year and you haven't set your goals, I encourage you after this call, or this week sometime, to sit down and start sending from frequencies and intentions to those lists. And if you don't know how to make those lists, let us know and we can jump on a call and teach you. So yeah, that's my little bit for there.
I also think too, Amanda, going back to the training that I did at the first training for the beginning of January, which was all around goal setting, and more than goal setting, it was honestly around intentions, you know. So it's a great training to go back and watch if you haven't done already. Um, and you can watch the replay, no worries. You'll get the same amount out of it as if you were on the call live. But it also breaks it down into the different segments that you may not even think of, from setting goals and intentions for the year. So I think that that's really good too.
Yeah, I was trying to find that video. Is it back in the group?
It should be.
Yeah, I couldn't find it a few weeks ago, so I'll have to go back and look for that, because I
Yeah, if
can't
you
see it.
can't, I can get it re-put up. Maybe she didn't do it or something. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Was
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So getting comfortable and clear. So a lot of you might say, but I'm not a practitioner, you're a practitioner, you know, that sort of stuff. But guess what? Once you complete the university, you're also a bioresidence practitioner and you receive a certificate. So, you know, after that, you can go and get insurance and you can start saying you're a bioresidence practitioner. And so, you know, I found when I was transitioning into a new business, I used to be a travel agent. You know, I never said I was a kinesiologist until I was ready to say, hey, to everyone, I'm a kinesiologist, even if I was doing 1 day a week and I was still in my corporate job. So, you know, I encourage you to see yourself as that bioresidence therapist, you know, and if you're not, why not, you know, start to look around that and, you know, see yourself because, you know more than the next person who you're showing this device to. So even if you don't know anything, you know more. And that's what I used to think in my business. They're coming to see me in kinesiology. I know more about this than them, even if I think I know nothing. And, you know, you've got to start there. So you've got to make it real. You've got to talk about it. You've got to be in that energy and feel it and tell people this is who I am. Otherwise, they're going to think, oh, I'm still in the corporate world and I do this. But what
Yeah.
if I do this also on the side? You know, and it's getting into alignment with who you want to be now. So if you have blocks and sabotages about that, what are you doing about that? There's lots of different people you could see. You've got the scanner. I think, what is it? Bree, doesn't Bree do all this mindset work around this sort of stuff? Isn't it
Yeah,
Ellie and
the
Bree?
last
And
day of every month. It's amazing. And the Superconscious Sisterhood that we listen into on the last Saturday of every month. And again, you can watch the recordings of that. They are phenomenal because the things that come out of those calls are incredible. The other thing I was just thinking about when you were talking about that, Amanda, is your elevator pitch. And that's something that I really struggled with in the first part because it was like, what do you say when someone says, what do you do? So let's use your example as an example. Like when you were a travel agent, which is fun fact, by the way, because I never knew that before. I didn't know what you were doing before you were doing
yep.
kinesiology. So I learned something about you today. Um,
Mhm.
but you could say, so if I was to say to you back in the day, oh, so what do you do, Amanda? And you would be like, oh, I'm a travel agent. I'd be like, oh, awesome. That's cool. I love to travel. And then I would know absolutely nothing about the fact that actually you're a kinesiologist, and let's say you had the technology, blah, blah, blah. And that, you know, all these amazing things that you do, I would know nothing about, right? So it's even if you do have another job, no matter what that is, how do you incorporate what you do now with Solex or your kinesiology business or whatever it is that you do outside your corporate job to actually pique the interest of someone to say, oh my gosh, what is that? So I've played with this for a really long time and I try to explain it so that people actually probably don't know all that much what it is that even when I explain it or say it, so that it needs an explanation. So, for example, someone says to me, what do you do? I say, I'm a frequency medicine practitioner. And they go, oh, what does that mean? And then I have the floor to actually explain what we actually do. Whereas if I say, um, you know, let's say I'm a massage therapist. I'm a massage therapist. Everybody knows what a massage therapist is. But if you were to say, I'm a massage therapist, but I actually focus on the work that I do more with frequency medicine during that massage, um, I'm making this up as I go along, clearly, during that hour session that I do with a client. So by the time they leave, they feel this, this, and this and you pick pain points, people will be like, oh my gosh, I have to know more about that. So that elevator pitch of what do you do and having a really solid, confident answer to that is really important.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to parties in my 20s when I was a kinesiologist, and people go, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I'm a kinesiologist and I help people with stress. And, you know, I got all my clients from parties when I first started.
Exactly. That's awesome. See, if you had have turned around and just gone, oh, I'm a travel agent, you know,
Yeah.
the people would be like, cool, everyone knows what a travel agent is, right? Unless they wanted to go on a vacay, but at least you were able to build your clientele base from actually having the confidence to turn around and say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do.
And you just got to start somewhere, you know, start to say, oh, I do this and I do this, or
Yeah,
just, you know, take your energy where you want it to go. You know, sometimes
exactly.
you've got to fake it till you make it, you know,
Yeah.
um, and keep going. The other thing is find a common interest you have in the AO scanner or the Solex. Like, why did you sign up? So think about that. Why did you actually sign up? You know, start there and share that story and why you signed up. Was it for your child? Was it for your mum with cancer? Was it for yourself because you're in chronic fatigue? Is, you know, what is it about? You know, that could be your starting point to show people, you know, well, this is why I joined and this is what I've got out of it. You don't have to make it big, you know, start somewhere. You know, it could just be 1 month, just start with the inner voice and talk about that. And then the second month, just talk about mind sync. You know, you don't have to know everything. And, you know, when I started, I also thought I needed to know everything. And I do these 1 hour consults and scan people and, you know, it was too much. And I've decided after 3.5 years, I don't want to work like that. So I've learnt what I want to actually use out of the scanner. And for me, I concentrate on Cephi groups and individual Cephi groups and monthly programs. And I don't go on and do 1 hour Zooms and go through one scan with people because it opens a can of worms. And I don't want to work like that. So, you know, I've learnt what's not going to overwhelm me and what's my sort of focus. And I also use it in my other business. But when I'm using it separately, that's, you know, what I've decided. I don't want to make it too big for me either. So, yes, start somewhere and start to charge, even if it's small, or ask for a donation because it is your time. You know, family members, you know, can take advantage. You know, you're doing all this stuff for them, but maybe get them to cook your meal or get them to take you out or, you know, start with a friend or start with a friend's friend. Just start somewhere small. You know, sometimes it's swapping. You know, I used to do a lot of swap sessions with practitioners. I still do. So they know what I do. And so they know, and then I know what they do. And then, you know, the more they know, and if they get a result, they might talk about you and refer. So, you know, get in front of people and ask, oh, you know, do you want to do a swap? You do Reiki, I do the scanner. You know, can we have a meeting? You know, start somewhere, learn and promote one thing at a time, or even hire someone to help if you don't want to, you know, get up. I know a lot of people don't want to do social media. I don't even want to do social media, to be honest. So, you know, like I struggle with it. So, you know, maybe hire a VA. I know there's some Filipino girls that we use that are beautiful, that help our leadership team. So if anyone needs help, you know, put your hand up, get some help. Cold calling, I don't do that, but I know you've done it, Beck, haven't you?
Oh, I try not to, but
Yeah.
if I'm somewhere, I will always take an opportunity. Don't get me wrong. And I guess I always just lead the conversation that way. I don't tend to cold call too much, but if I see like a clinic or a practice that I think, gosh, this would be so amazing, I will on the odd occasion give them a call and offer to go and do a presentation in person with them. Just depends on who and what it is. I really do try to start with a warm market. I always use the example of kind of put people into sort of three different categories when it comes to frequency work. And at one end, you've got people who know and get frequencies, right? You talk anything frequencies and they're just like, yes, I get it. I listen to frequencies every night. You know, they know it, or they're kinesiologists, or they're just holistically minded. And so for those people, they're honestly probably the easiest people to talk to, and they would be classed as your warm market. The next, which is probably the biggest group of people, are people who don't necessarily know a lot about frequency medicine and the work of bioresonance, but are really open and are really keen to learn more. And they're a great group of people to talk to as well. And then down the other end, you've got a group of people who are just fully skeptical, think you're just woo woo. There's no way you could send this from here to there, even though they use a mobile phone and they have a remote for their car. But they don't get this concept. They just are out to prove you wrong. I will not ever bother nor scan anyone that is like that. So for me, it's like, you know, the middle to the top end, that's a huge group of people, and that's the majority, let's be honest. They're the people that I would work with. But also too, you know, we've got it here. Just remember that you will never ever know everything about the scanner before you get started. So don't feel like you have to know everything before you get started. I have put myself into some curly situations where I know the scanner to a degree in the early days. It's still very new, but I would go and meet with like naturopaths who have worked with all sorts of bioresonance frequency machines that know a heck of a lot more than I do. But if there's one thing that I knew is that I know more about the AO scan, even if it was only limited, than what they did.
Amazing. Cool. Okay, where are we up to? Oh, this is my video. Let's see if it works.
It will.
Okay, so I just thought, you know, we've got a vibrational machine. We're all about frequencies, you know. I used to do a lot of Abraham Hicks stuff 20 years ago, you know, and I've kind of forgotten about them, but I kind of started to watch some videos again. And I thought, you know, what did I used to do when I used to have to market myself? Well, I used to get into alignment. I used to get into my vibration. I used to balance myself. You know, I used to read a lot of their books, and, you know, and our mind sync is all about that, you know, getting into that vibe and changing our alignment if it's, you know, a bit dysfunctional or a bit off. So, you know, marketing is really getting into your own energy and alignment with yourself and showing up. So, you know, it's like, you know, I used to have kinesiologists work for me years ago, and, you know, they'd hire out my space. They wouldn't even show up. You know, and I'd be like, have you been here this week? No, I haven't got clients. I'm like, you're not even showing up in the room. You're not even using your energy in there. You're not even, get a friend in, balance them, be in that energy, get into alignment, you know, be that person. Are you, you know, so you do have to show up. You know, create it first and then people will come.
Yeah.
You know, are you confident in talking about it? You know, and if you're not, start to practice. And, you know, the best place to practice is do a market stall, because people come up to you and they say, what's this? And suddenly you've got to go, ah, okay, you know, and you jump in and you learn. So you've got to get out there. And if you do want to get confident, you've got to start talking about it somewhere. You know, also ask yourself, how much time do you spend in your business? You know, is it an hour? Is it no time? Is it 10 hours? You know, because that will show you what's happening as well. So I just thought, if it plays, let's see. It's a 4-minute little video. So let's, fingers crossed.
Hi, Abraham. I'm getting ready to open up the bar portion of my beautiful crystal gallery, and I'm super excited. And I would like to start doing some marketing, and I'd like to do that from a vibrational point of view. So I would like to do some vibrational marketing rather than marketing in the traditional sense of the word. So I would like your advice on how to attract people, how to get the word out there, how to be a cooperative component, and attract all the success that I want to my gallery through vibrational marketing. Thank you so much. Love and appreciate you.
Everything is vibrational marketing, isn't it? So we're going to tell you a quick story. You've heard this before, but it's a very good jumping in place on this important conversation, not just for your beautiful gallery bar, but for anything that anyone is wanting to do. So a couple came to a workshop in a hotel one day, and they were concerned because they had a house for sale that had been on the market for months and it wasn't selling. And so we asked them, why are you selling the house? And they said, we've outgrown it. It's worn out. It's wearing out. It's not big enough. And we said, so think of the advertisement that you're sending to the universe. Come and buy this thing from me that I no longer want. And then we said, can you remember how you felt about that house when you first bought it? And right away, he said, I remember it well. We were very excited about it. It was just right for our little family. Something that we could afford. It felt so good. We could barely furnish it. We couldn't furnish it, but Slowly, we gathered the things for it, and little by little, we got the things up on the walls to enhance it. And every weekend, we would go to the nursery and buy a new plant, and we would plant it as a family. And we said, now you're sending an entirely different advertisement to the universe. And they contacted Esther not long after that, and the house sold almost immediately when their point of attraction shifted. So remember that it isn't about the details that you defined here. It's not about getting the word out. Vibrational marketing is about getting the vibration out. It's about putting yourself in the position that the law of attraction is responding to your pure vibration, not your optimistic then worried vibration, not your eager but overwhelmed vibration, your pure vibration. So we're just going to offer some words here in the same way that we were describing to this couple how to attract what they wanted to their house. I have the most wonderful place to be. It's a place where when you walk in the door, you will feel an enhancement of your experience because I've already gathered some of the most beautiful crystals on the planet, and I've brought them in great number to this space. They are the heart of this space, these magnificent crystals that enhance the energy of what this place is about. And what this place is about is a gathering place where people from all perspectives gather. People who want to be happy come here. And when they are here, they are happy. That's what we've got going on here. Happiness that is enhanced by the beauty of the space. I know you're going to want to be here. Everyone wants to be here. This is the place where everyone wants to be. This is the way everyone wants to feel.
Beautiful. Just thought I'd share that because we have to get into that feeling space. And you've got Mind Sync to do that. So we've got a little gift at the end, which we'll tell you about to help you get into a bit of, vibrational alignment and abundance with your business if you haven't already got a Mind Sync program.
I think too, Amanda, with that, when we refer it back to Solex, if you can imagine talking to somebody about this and about it with excitement and joy and just that absolute burst of energy that you have when you know how passionate you are about something versus talking to someone out of desperation, out of a need for, is a very different feeling energetically. So just be really mindful of that when you're going out into the world. And that's really what this is about. And that's what Abraham is always referring to is what's the feeling. And something that the work of Abraham I've done for a very long time. And in 2023, up until November, I had the best year I'd had in a long time. And it's because I committed to listening to the work of Abraham every single day. I made sure, and most of them are only like 10 or 15 minutes if you find them on YouTube. And I listened to the work of Abraham every single day. And when you lead with the feeling of, and your gut and your intuition and all of those things, that's when your business and your life will truly, truly change. So it's really powerful work.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're in frequency, we're in vibration. So you've got to kind of play the same game.
Yeah, absolutely. And notice where you're spending your time too and what your focus is. And if it's not quite where you need it to be, then it's easy to make that shift. And particularly with the tools like our Mind Sync and being able to run frequency to yourself as well.
Absolutely. This is just a reminder of all the tools that we have, and all the things that we can talk about and share. We haven't got the rain in yet. We nearly got the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully mine says shipping tomorrow.
Yes, that's exciting.
Put detox spa, I think we've got. So I think we've got the hub and the, what are they? The lasers, I
The
think.
lasers, yep.
So just a reminder of all the different areas, like you could just focus on, the wand on its own, or pets, or, you could just do products,
Yeah.
just the scanner. So there's, different ways that you could bring this in depending on what your jam is, what you're interested in, etc. So that's just a little reminder.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. So let's just talk about, charging and what sort of things we can charge for, or, there's no set price. So, Solex isn't saying you must charge this amount for this scan, or, it's kind of up to you and what you think it's worth. And, same with a lot of modalities, no one told me how much to charge for my services. I had to kind of work it out. And, I've changed, even my Solex prices have changed as I've gone along. So, start with something. So you could just do a scan such as the Easy Scan, or the Vitals, or the Comprehension, or the Body System, or you could just do multicast. You could split them up by ticking boxes. So, if that's all too overwhelming, maybe just start with food sensitivities, chakras, or meridians. Like this week, I've got a monthly package with a woman who's just wants to know food sensitivities. That's it. And I said, well, we're not going to do much with one scan. So it's best to do probably 4 scans over the month, and we'll both track it, and we'll see if any of those foods actually stay there and stay on the red zone, or if it's just in that week. So, I've charged for that, anywhere between $69 and $99. I charge, depending if it's a one-off client or they're a regular client of mine. Sometimes I give people special prices. So just, start with something. If you only know chakras, just start with a chakra scan. And if you don't know, just maybe learn one of them over the month, and, start to do some research on chakras and meridians, and then start there with the scans and decide how you want to charge. So, an individual price, and I tend to do more monthly packages, or a few scans over a week. I don't tend to do a lot of individual ones, but that's just me, because I don't find the scan after one scan tells me enough information, and I don't want to be open to that. But that's just me. But I know lots of other people probably just do a one-off scan. I will do a one-off scan if I'm showing someone around the device. I'll definitely do a one-off scan that way. But yeah, I tend to bring them more into packages so that they get the best results, and I feel more confident in what I'm doing as well. So you could also just do an inner voice, start there. When I first started, well, how did I sign up? Paige was on the kinesiology Facebook page in lockdown advertising free inner voices. And I'm like, what's this? And then I think she had to, send me about 2 or 3 texts before I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll have one of those. And then once I listened and she flicked me a video, I was like, oh, I need to know more. But, so I just started with the inner voice. So you could just start there. We didn't have MindSync when I started, but, I use MindSync a lot in my practice. Especially after a session, I will put everyone's affirmations into a little, workbook and send it to them, and I'll get them to record and send it back to me, so they've got ongoing positive affirmations from their sessions. But you could do that about anything that you're working on a client with. And so, yeah, again, I try to keep those a bit more monthly, or I theme package them around what we're doing. And I also have done a lot of monthly programs where there's a tracking form. So I don't know if anyone knows, but there is a tracking form in the group, especially there's one in my group. So if anyone doesn't know about that, I use that a lot, where I actually track the client's monthly vital scan. So I'll do a vital scan every week, and we'll track the whole thing. And then I'll jump on a half an hour Zoom call, and I'll say, this is still out, this isn't, what Cephi do you want this week? And we do this over a month, and we see what actually sticks. And, I did a woman for 3 or 4 months when she had chronic fatigue last year, and, not much stuck. Things were changing constantly. Maybe a few parasites stayed the same, but there was a lot of things that started to really shift. And so, it kind of proves to you that even though you're doing a monthly program and you're creating these Cephis, they're not really getting that stuck, they're moving. And I think until you actually track it and see it, you can see that the frequencies are moving people's energies. And if there's things that are still stuck and you're not qualified in that, refer them on to someone. Send them to a Chinese doctor or a herbalist or someone who can help a little bit further with maybe their diet, or, you know, this liver keeps showing up, you know, maybe they do need to go and get a scan. You know, it's just information you're collecting so they've got choice around their health. So that's how I tend to use the packages and the price. I mean, I can talk about pricing that I use, but at the end of the day, you can all choose what you decide to charge. Yeah, I don't know if you want to jump in a bit more about that, Beck.
Well, we've got the price guide too, and that's in the guide section of the Frequency Soul Collective Education Hub. So really utilize that guide section that's been set up, that we continue to add to as well. And soon we'll have the new distributor portal where you'll also have those guidelines as well. But, you know, I think that start with what you feel comfortable explaining and utilizing. So as Amanda was saying, choose something. Like if you're not really confident with anything, just choose something. Like I know one of our distributors has a business, and her business is solidly around cats. And so therefore she utilizes the AO scan specifically for doing scans on cats. And that's her niche market. You know, I think when I first started, my absolute passion was inner voice as well. I mean, we didn't have anything, you know, near what we have now from body systems and chakras and meridians and all the things, food sensitivities. But start with something that has either made some really big shifts and changes for you, or that you understand really well.
Absolutely. Okay, so the other thing that I use a lot is obviously the Cephi playlists, and I do these individually and I also do them in groups. So, you know, create some themes and set up groups. So, you know, when I first started these, probably 2 years ago, I used to run another program in my day retreat kind of business in kinesiology around the 5 elements. So then I designed, you know, 5 Cephi groups for that year, all around the seasons. And so I was doing my Cephis around the season, programming the Cephis, and I was just adding a few little extra things into the group, like a meditation here and there. And so I was advertising those as seasonal themes. So that's how I started. I know Belle did a lot of like abundance boot camps and weight loss boot camps, and you know she did a lot of Cephi groups. And then we've done quite a few in the collective. Last year and the year before we did some groups. So you know, team up with people. Like, you know, for a while me and Sandra and Belle, we would team up and make light work. I think even Patrice jumped in once with us as well. You know, reach out to people if you've got a theme and you want to help. It's easier if someone's running a week. You know, you're not running the whole 3 weeks on your own. Or join the collectives frequency one, and just, you know, even if you've got one person in it, at least you learn how to do it. And everyone does it slightly different. So it's just learning your way that works for you. So, you know, do you have something you're really passionate about? You know, there's some ideas here. Is it gratitude? I just did a gratitude one at the end of last year. You know, and that was because, you know, gratitude's so powerful and I'd forgotten. And then we had the DOD, and that beautiful girl got up on stage and talked about her gratitude journey. And what was her name again?
Alicia.
Alicia, yes. So, you know, there's weight loss, there's nervous system reset, there's, you know, step into spring, the seasonal themes like I did, abundance. You know, you might want to get to winter and just focus on immunity and flu season for people, and, you know, get the immunity right, you know, the lead up to winter. You know, advertise it as we lead in, you know, and put people into these little groups. Focus, clarity, sleep, mental health and wellness. There's so many themes, you know, maybe focus on something that you like or you need, you know. At the moment, I've just been doing like little Facebook groups, you know, I'd see what's scanning up for me. And, you know, Friday abundance scanned up. So I put a little post, who needs abundance today? You know, I did it today for Monday, but, you know, I got 6 or 7 people and I just threw them in a little group and we did 2 hours as a group. But I'm giving someone an experience from what I've got coming up for me. Has anyone else got that? So, you know, that's just ways to share. I mean, it's all free at the minute, that bit, not my Cefi groups aren't, but, you know, just a little experience, because I guess the more people see that you're showing that and having experience, someone might say, oh, what else does this do? Or I might join the 3-week one, not the 2-hour free one. You know, I want more of this.
But imagine, like, out of 6 or 7 people, Amanda, if 3 or 4 of them jumped into one of your Cefi groups, depending on how much you charge for a Cefi group, that's $300 or $400. That's more than your subscription paid for the month, you know? So if people are looking to have their subscription covered, there's so many different ways to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, just over Christmas, I went, you know, was working with a girl in Africa who's just married an African guy, and she was over there for a month and trying to get pregnant. So we did like 4 weeks of pregnancy conception Cefis and in a voice for her, just to support her, as well as she gets fluid retention on the plane. So we were supporting her flight over and her flight back. And, you know, that was $400.
Yeah.
I charge $100 a week for some Cefis, and I play them for an hour a day. And I give her a free inner voice on that. And so that's paid for my subscription just with that one girl.
Exactly.
So you've got to find those people, you know, find their pain, find what they've got going on, see what support, because we're not diagnosing here, we're supporting, we're maintaining, we're helping people between maybe their cancer treatments or their, you know, their IVF treatments, or, you know, they're at school and they can't concentrate, or, you know, find out what they actually need help with. You know, combine other interests, other modalities, upsell it with a meditation if you're into meditation. You know, maybe it's gut health, you know, use the gut health program, or use the stuff that you already know. Maybe it's a mindset stress release program. Maybe it's a Reiki technique. You know, find what you're interested in and you could upsell that and get creative. So some examples of some pain stories that I've worked with: shingles, gum issues, conception, fatigue, menopause, back pain. So these are a 1-week Cefi program. I just put a list together and I get the client involved. So I send them the whole list and I say, you know, what's your pain story? What do you need help with? And, you know, this is what I think I'm going to put together with you. But often they will come back and go, can you add this? I've seen this frequency on the sheet. I send them the whole PDF of all the Cefis, all the flower essences, and they come back and they want this and they want that. And, you know, I get them to work with me. So it's not me doing all the work. Because often they see something on that list that I haven't even thought of.
Yeah. And then that energetically aligns with them as to what they're needing, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I like to get them involved in the process. I always add in an inner voice, and, you know, you could also add in a mind sync around their theme, you know, chat GP, go into chat GP and go, okay, give me some positive affirmations around conception.
Yeah.
Put them all together, send it to the client, get them to put a voice recording, give it back to you, you know, put it into the mind sync. And, you know, if you can't find the affirmations, you know, chat GPT is really good for that. Chat GPT is really good for Cefi lists, you know, pop in like, what are the best homeopathics for conception, or what's the best homeopaths for back pain, or what's the best bark flower for back pain. You know, they're not always amazingly correct, but they might give you some hints about where to go if you're feeling a bit stuck. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that's awesome.
Okay.
Just as you're changing slides, though, I will add something completely not, well, off topic, but not, is that what came to me as you were talking is the energy around how you build your business and how you work, is that your energy is consistent and that you're constantly looking to, you're creating something new, you're either running a group, bringing new people in, introducing new people, or if there's a constant flow from an energetic perspective to the work that you do. And that's really important, because when people stop and start and stop and start regularly, the universe listens to that as well. They're like, well, really, how much do you want this? You know, it's like, how can we bring new people when you're stopping and starting all the time? It's got to be that consistency, not just from the work that you do, but from the energy that you bring to your passion for Solex and what we have here.
Beautiful. So another idea would be you could just focus on remedies and Cephi dots, you know, start there. Imprinting Cephi remedies and sell them on their own or in packages. So, you know, there was a lady I met at a market and she had back pain, and we did a couple of Cephi dots and put them on her back, and off she went. She took my number, and I think she texted me 3 times over that year. Can I have 5 more of those Cephi dots? Can you pop them in the post? And can you add this into it? And can you add that into it? And I just, you know, do a whole, like, you know, 10 Cephi dots, pop them in the post, and she'd put them on and off she'd go. And she texts me, you know, 6 months later, can I have a few more? So, you know, you don't know what people want. I was kind of, oh, okay, she wants more Cephi dots. All right. Like, you know, I wouldn't have thought that, but she did. So,
Yeah.
you know, you don't know what people actually need or want. You've just got to offer it. You know, you can make frequency remedies, cell salts, flower essences. So, you know, you could make them up and, you know, have them. I have them in clinics, so I save a lot of money by having my cell salts and my flower essences imprinted. But you could do that for others. Like you could make up kits as like a first aid kit for someone, and you could sell them to practitioners or to, you know, mums at home that need, you know, a little bit of arnica and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and, you know, maybe some bark flowers in the cupboard for their kids. You know, you could do that if you wanted to. You could imprint jewelry, obviously do market stores, sell products, yeah, that sort of thing. So just a few more ideas if you just wanted to start with that sort of thing. You know, you could have, you know, a group of friends over for a dinner party and all give them a Cephi dot, and you don't know what could come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some other ideas, upsell what you already do or interested in. So are you already running sessions in person or online of some sort? You know, yes, I'm a kinesiologist, but we have other people in the group. Maybe we have coaches, maybe we have naturopaths, you know, maybe we just, you know, mums that have studied and they're interested in a particular topic, you know, like just another idea to upsell. So I upsell my kinesiology sessions online. So I've added an hour-and-a-half package. I used to only do an hour, but now I do an hour-and-a-half online, and the last half an hour is using the scanner. So I've upsold my services by adding that in. You know, you're also adding value. You're also standing out as, I'm not doing kinesiology, I'm doing this as well. Or I'm not only a coach, I now do mind sync. You know, so you're kind of setting yourself apart from maybe the next person that may have only just got one modality under their belt. The other thing is you could offer a 6-day pass program and run people through it day by day, teach them how to use it. I know you guys did that late last year, didn't you, Beck?
Yeah. Yeah. Paige and I did that together, and it was amazing. It was just a really good experience for people to be able to have that 6-day pass. And we jumped on a call with them at the beginning. We put them all in a group on, like, in a chat on Facebook. We talked them through it every sort of step of the way. We jumped on a call, I think, middle of the 6 days, and at the end of this, at the end as well. The reason we did that at the end is just to explain to them, okay, where to from here. So that they knew where they could, you know, what they could do from there, whether they wanted to actually jump on board and have the subscription themselves, whether they wanted to, I don't think we had a Cephi program going at that time, but the next time I do that, I would probably have people jump in on a Cephi program as an option, or as a paid client. So there's 3 options there for them.
Yeah, amazing. And it's just, you know, starting these ideas, isn't it? And, you know,
Yeah.
they can change as you go along and, you know, okay, that didn't quite work. Let's try it this way. Yeah, so other things is focus on a supplement. I mean, obviously Solex is bringing out a lot of supplements. Since when I started, there was no supplements.
Yeah.
So, you know, if that's your thing, you know, focus on a supplement and, you know, sell that. Yeah, as I sort of talked about earlier, social freebies, you know, run a theme for an hour and see who's interested. A bit like, you know, people get out there and go pick a card, you know, and people are, you know, you're getting interaction, but it could be
Yeah.
pick, you know, here's a frequency. Who wants to join this for an hour?
That's
Just
cool.
to get some interaction going. So that's
I
kind of
love
what
that. That's such a good idea.
yeah, so I just started that last week. So I'm just like, oh, you know, and I won't do it a lot, but if I've got a bit of spare time, doesn't
Yeah.
take, I just put everyone's name in a little, you know, little group and sent frequencies to that space in an object group.
That's
like
cool.
we used to do it years ago before the multicast came in, or the
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Not the multicast. What's it called?
Yeah, multicast.
Multicast? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You had me thinking then. I'm like, oh, that's what it's called.
I know we're kind of on time, so we're kind of going to just quickly get through a few more little slides, but if you do need to go, I understand, because it's kind of 9 o'clock. Some other ideas is running information Zooms, having in-person catch-ups and lunches. Like me and Rani organised a lunch last year, and she came down to Melbourne and she had some friends that she wanted to introduce the scanner to, and I invited some of my group. And so we all kind of got together and had a chat and showed the scanner and showed the tools, and we all had a chat about why we joined Solex, and a couple of people joined from that lunch. So you don't know where it could go. Frequency parties, immersion days. I think Paige just ran one on Saturday at her place. Had a few practitioners there. Trying out different technologies and tools. We're getting quite a few tools now to try out. So you might want to invite people over and have a little kind of technology party. You might have a stall at a market, a festival, team up with others. Other ideas might be to rent out products. So renting out your infinity wand to someone, renting out your 660 band, your hub, your foot detox and mat. Obviously, you've got to teach them a little bit. You probably, the hub, you probably might not, but definitely I've lent out my infinity wand to heaps of people just to try, before they buy type stuff. And, whether it's someone in my team or a client, I say, yeah, go use it for 3 days, bring it back.
Yeah.
Concentrate, there's obviously, if you just want to concentrate on building a team in Solex and ranking, talk to who signed you up, or talk to one of the leaders or someone who has done that already. Join networking groups, present at wellness events, speak on podcasts, run retreats, design a course, including the scanner in it somewhere. So there's lots of different ways that you could bring this in. And if you don't have a skill set, team up with someone who might have the skill set, and you do it together. You might bring the scanner in and they might bring their other modality in or skill set in. So yeah, start somewhere.
And I think too, Amanda, you just do what you feel is going to work, or work with someone who knows, but feel free to chop and change it as you go. Like, we've been doing the Mind Body Spirit Expo for a few years now, and we still to this day haven't mastered that. We're about to do the Conscious Life Expo on the Sunshine Coast in a few weeks' time, and we want to completely change up what we've ever done before, because what we feel like we want to bring in a different bring it in a different way. And so if we want a different result, we have to do things differently. So it's trial and error. There's no set way to do something, but join these different groups and do things differently and just see what works for you, because what works for one person may not work for another.
Absolutely. Like, we're all different, and how we build a business or get ourselves out there. Some people do it silently in, doing little gatherings. Other people are out there on social media, and, it depends what suits you. You don't have to do the same. So I just wanted to, if you haven't got a pen and paper close by, maybe grab one. We're just going to do a quick little exercise, only a couple of minutes, and then we're sort of nearly right at the end. I just wanted to talk about, what is stopping you from earning money, because it could be a belief system, it could be a fear, it could be a doubt, it could be a sabotage. So, the universal law is, as we let go, we can receive more. It is a law that's out there. If we try to hold on to things too long, it becomes stagnant and we block and we can't receive. So, there could be a doubt that we've held on for too long that's blocking us and we can't receive. Write that down. We've got to get that block away. So the principle of the infinity symbol, look at the AO scanner. We have the infinity symbol right there. It's the yin and yang principle. It's as we let go, we clear out the old and we assimilate the new. We bring in the new feelings and ideas and we begin to receive again. So we shift the flow, we let go, we bring in new thoughts. It's the dance of the universe. We see it everywhere. We see it in the breath. We breathe in to contract. We breathe out to expand. Mother Earth clears out too. Father Sky brings in the new. So the principle is everywhere. It's in the AO scanner with the infinity symbol. It's found in nature. You know, AO scan is alpha amigo, beginnings and endings. So, you know, what is stopping you from receiving? So I'm going to give you all a minute. Oops, hang on. All a minute. Just quickly write down, is there something stopping you? And, you know, after this call, I want you to burn it, tear it up, say to the universe, I let it go, I release it. And so be it. So I'm going to give you a minute just to write a few thoughts. And then we've got one more little exercise and we'll finish for the night. So is it a skill? I don't know enough. No one will listen to me. What are those fears, blocks? And that's if you want to earn money, not all of us do. But if you do, and you feel like there is something blocking you, jot it down. It's the perfect energy to let go. We are all being asked to look at our shadows right now and evolve. So what's stopping you from that next step? I'll just give you another little moment because you can do this afterwards. I just wanted to make sure you're in the vibe and starting to think about it. If anyone has finished and they want to put any comments in the chat, feel free. Because no doubt, you know, we probably all have similar doubts and fears. And, you know, I used to get on social media and go, oh my God, people are so sick of seeing me. And then people are like, oh, I don't even see your posts.
Mm.
So here I am thinking they're sick of me. They haven't even seen me.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, these are just our stories or our perceptions, right? So we have to be really mindful of that as well.
Absolutely.
Just as
And
people are
then,
finishing up, sorry, I was just going to quickly answer a couple of these questions because I know that we're about to wrap things up. Sue was asking, so how do I use the scanner? Do I use it for clients or do I focus mainly on team building through Frequency Soul Collective? It's really a combination of both, I suppose. In any business, you're always looking to bring in new people. So we never stop doing that. I've pulled back a lot from my kinesiology business. My business is chopping and changing quite a bit at the minute. So what that looks like in the future, I'm not 100% sure. But from a past perspective, I have done a lot of both. So I definitely incorporate the scanner with all of my clients, no matter what the work is that I'm doing with them. The replays are in the education hub. I believe that all of the replays have been put there, but we also have the Frequency Soul Collective YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen that, you can also go to that. Paige has answered that one for us. Thank you, Paige. And as for a VA, I definitely have some really amazing contacts for a VA. So if you do wish to look at hiring someone, please reach out to me. More than happy to put you in contact. Yeah, depending on, so you're saying send them the list and find it overwhelming. Maybe it just depends on what you're working, like let's say you're working with a particular topic, maybe just sending, and particularly if they don't know a lot about frequency, maybe just sending them a smaller list. ChatGPT, oh my gosh, I'm not sure. Oh, ChatGPT, seriously, it's like life-changing. So it is actually AI. But you could type, if you go into just type in ChatGPT on Google, the website will come up and you can type anything into ChatGPT. You can say to them, Write me a 5,000 word essay on kinesiology and how it's related, how incredible it is to utilize within frequency medicine, and it will write you a 5,000 word essay within seconds. It is unbelievable. You can ask it to do anything, to write anything. We utilize, I'm trying to think what I use it for. So sometimes we will utilize it for like peak interest posts. For example, we've just, in our new portal, we've got peak interest posts. So I'll say, can you write a peak interest post that is specifically around frequency medicine? And then I'll read it and I think, oh, that doesn't sound like, I don't think people know what that means. So you can say, can you now change it and make it a little bit more like easier to understand? And it'll rewrite it. Or can you make it sound a little bit more professional? Can you make it sound a little bit more this or that? Oh my gosh, you're going to have so much fun with that. It is, as ChatGPT honestly is next level. So go and have a play with that one for sure.
And it's free. There's a free one, but you can get paid ones as well that do a lot more. But the free one is, you know, it does enough for me. You know, sometimes it's just writing a post, you know, and you change it a bit, but because it can be sometimes like, oh, I wouldn't sound like that. So, you know, you kind of, it gets to learn your personality too. So it starts writing things a bit more in your vibe after a while.
Yeah, it really is crazy, isn't it, how it works? And it does, it gets to know how you like things to be written. So it does pick up on and your language of how you speak or how you utilize things. So there's all of that as well. Sue asks, when you're using the scanner in the same session as your standard modality, do you or other practitioners use the scanner at the start or at the beginning, and the pros and cons? For me, personally, I use it at the beginning, and that's because I want to look at anything that may come up that I may need to balance at the time, particularly when it comes to an emotional, from an emotional perspective, or if there's something specific that I'm working with. So the more information I can get at the beginning of an information gathering from that perspective, I find that really, really powerful. But I really do think, and I know like a lot of our massage therapists, they use it at the beginning as well, because they'll run frequency for the client during their session. When it comes to the expos, what are we going to do differently this time? We haven't had the meeting yet, so I'm not 100% sure. But if you were to ask me from my perspective, well, I know that we're going to definitely utilize the tools a lot more. So we're going to bring in the infinity mat and the wand and have experiences for people, as well as the inner voice. We're going to do all of those things, but we're also looking at things like bringing stickers where we can imprint a sticker as a freebie. Imprint a sticker with something that's specific to them that they're needing, that they can then put on the back of their phone or in their purse or in their pocket. So we're looking at doing that. And my other idea, which we haven't really spoken about yet, but I'm going to say it out loud, it's been in my head for a while, is really to upsell Cephi group. So create a specific Cephi group for the month, you know, starting whatever on a particular date, like a week later. And then they pay the $99 or $111 on the day. And then they get, you know, X amount of value and the Cephi group. And we might give them Cephi dots or something like that. So I just feel like us trying to explain the scanner, do all of these scans up front is just so much and so overwhelming for people. I just think it's too much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we had the infinity one at the Melbourne one, and people came from everywhere because they could see this infinity one on someone's back, and they were like, oh, and they were like, what's that? You know, they were sort of doing that for the scanner. They were like, what's that, to get them in? And then it's like, oh, what else do you have?
Yeah, awesome.
So hopefully you've all written down what you want to release.
Yes.
And once you've done that, you have to take action. So once you've ripped it all up and you've burnt it, how is the universe going to know that you've changed or that you want to change? So you have to reprogram the part of the brain called the cactus nucleus, which is stored motor programs that tells you who you are. So if it wants to tell you who you are now, you have to create that action. So I want you all to think now, what is your action step that you're going to take to tell yourself that this is who you are now? And, you just ask your higher self, like, what do I need to do? And it could be, after this call, and it could be one thing. It could just be like, send that email, put that post out tomorrow, make that phone call, actually put your mind sync in the AO scanner. It just, ask yourself every day, what is the action you need to take? And it might not be every day. It could be every Monday morning that you're free, or every Sunday afternoon that you're free. What are you going to action this week to prove to yourself that you want to grow your business or you want to earn some money? Because you have to tell the universe with the action. You can't just think it. Yes, you've got to get in the vibration, but you also need to do an action to prove that's who you are now. So have a think about the action. And if you do know what the action is, we'd love to hear from you what that action is. And we'd love a comment in the Frequency Soul Collective chat to tell us what your action step is or what else you might need help with, so we know what Zoom educational things to put on for you guys. So an action step or what you still need help with, and I'll gift you from ChatGPT that I put together, getting into alignment for success mind sync. So that's our little gift for you tonight. I'm going to go to the next slide, which is if anyone has any more questions or like to discuss what they do, we can all jump in and have a quick chat and then say goodnight.
We might just stop the record.